So can you get filthy rich investing in Tesla today? In fact, if you watch YouTube, the answer would be absolutely yes. And if you watch a lot of financial TV or read publications, they will tell you yes as well. However, I want to tell you the truth about this stuff because unfortunately, much of the financial industry, and especially on YouTube, is to take advantage of retail investors that don't know any better. And I want to show you guys some real numbers. So let's just jump right in. First, people like to show you the chart, which is absolutely true. Tesla's up if you got in early, like very, very early. You're up 20,000%, which is obviously fantastic returns. Even if you got in 5 years ago, up 1,000%, awesome returns. 100% awesome returns. Actually, 1,000% awesome returns. But one of the key important things in the stock market is past performance does not equal future results, meaning that if they got, 1,000% in the last 5 years, would you get 1,000% again? I think the odds are actually quite low. However, again, if you watch YouTube, they would say, no, Chris, you're so dumb. Past performance is the same as the future. And I say, no, not necessarily. So this is where you got to protect yourself out there. Also, too, this is a big one. Many channels on YouTube, I've made videos about this. They try to indicate that Tesla was a penny stock. It never was a penny stock. Essentially, what happens is that Google Finance adjusts the price in the past to make it look that way. But essentially, it was because of stock splits. Now, if you don't understand this, please watch these other videos and check this out. I just want to make sure you guys get this. The chart is a little bit misleading that way. However, going back to will Tesla make you crazy rich? The big news these days is that, the supercharging network is going to be a whole bunch of money for them. And this is like, a game changer, et cetera. And this is where they're going to be making tons of money. Now, I want to show you guys the truth on this stuff because sadly, most people don't tell you the truth. So here's some headlines here. Read it. Tesla set for AWS moment as Elon Musk urges rivals access charging stations. And this is Dan Ives. And AWS says it was Amazon Web Services. And essentially, Amazon makes a ton of money off cloud and these kind of things. And the idea is that, they're going to get the service revenue. Now, how much money is it going to be? If you take a look at this, so Dan Ives is saying it's going to be like $3 billion annually by 2030, right? Because, other cars are going to be using the network and it's going to, bring in so much money. And this, what they do is they go on TV and they say, this is Dan Ives, but you can watch any YouTube channel that's the same thing. They make, oh my God, $3 billion in revenue by 2030, that's 7 years from now. It's so much money. Tesla's going to be so rich. You're all going to be so rich. And he literally wears a clown suit. I'm not making it up. He likes to wear these sort of rainbow colored suits as his Dan Ives. And he just talked about how much money Tesla's going to bring in. Now, understand this. Very important point. Now, let's say, for example, I have a company and I have 10 billion in revenue. And I tell everyone, guys, I got 10 billion in revenue. We're just making so much cash, 10 billion in revenue. However, what are your expenses? What if I have, for example, 20 billion in expenses? Suddenly, even though I have 10 billion in revenue, I'm losing 10 billion a year because my expenses are so high. So understand the basic concept that is this profitable or not? That's really important to understand. So they only talk about revenue. They don't talk about profits. That's what I want to talk about with you guys today. Also, too, some of the articles you'll see out there will be like going crazy. This one is Tesla Supercharger Network could be worth 100 billion. So first we're going from, 3 billion annually to suddenly it's worth 100 billion. So we're just like inflating numbers like crazy. This is really, really optimistic. However, to understand this is part of the bubble and this is what bubble people do. This is ARK Invest. As you guys can see here, it went up and then when it came right back down. So this is sort of the pinnacle of the bubble. I've made videos about this before, but I just want to mention that people do lie to you. They lie to your face by basically pumping up stuff that's simply untrue or just overly optimistic. So you can read these other headlines here. Tesla's Elon Musk is talking about the profits of the Supercharger network. Also, too, this is a really big one. A couple of the EV charging networks are going to add essentially the Tesla plugs. So basically, what's going on is that before all the pumpers are trying to tell you that Tesla's going to make a ton of money because any car brand can then go charge their car at a Tesla supercharger. However, other charging stations can just get an adapter, and then Teslas can go to off-brand charging stations, or Ford and GM can go to off-brand. They don't have to go to Tesla chargers. It's just kind of like saying that there's only one place to charge. It's simply not true, because what's going on is that essentially other networks are getting into the game. They're like, well, I can just make adapters and you can come charge here. And there's going to be a competition on price. So the pumpers of Tesla didn't take this into account, that you can be able to charge it anywhere, not just at a Tesla charging station. And Volkswagen is talking that they're going to adapt the Tesla charging standard as well. So I think this is actually major competition. Because again, as a driver, I'm pretty sure you guys are the same boat that I am. When I'm looking for a gas station, I have a choice between, gas station A, gas station B. I don't care what the brand is. Honestly, I just go whatever's cheaper. So if you disagree, if you, have to go to a certain brand of gas station, please let me know. But most people that I know, you kind of have your favorite one because frankly, they might have some points there or they have a cheaper price, et cetera. But I'm not paying, 20% more just for a brand name charger or brand name gas. That's not what I do. But you guys might be different, and maybe I'm the weird one, but I think most people will choose on price. That's my opinion on that. Moreover, the charging stations may not be as great as the pumpers make it out to seem. This is according to JD Power, and you probably already know this if you just use logically. Electric vehicle owners prefer dedicating home charging stations. And in fact, according to the Department of Energy, and these numbers could be, off by a few percentage points, but I think it's roughly in this ballpark. They're saying 80% of people who own EVs will be charging their car at home. So charging network is not like everyone's going to be charging at, the charging stations because they're going to do it at home. Also, too, to be fair, they may also do it at work, which I know some people do that as well. The other thing, too, I want to bring up, which I think is really important, is battery technology will get better in the future. And chances are people, won't use charging stations at all in the future because essentially you'll go to work, you'll come home and you charge at home. Go to work, come home, charge at home. And maybe, you need longer range, for example. Then you use a charging station because you're making a long road trip, that kind of thing. But in the future, I think charging stations aren't going to be as great as people are making it seem for this reason, because people charge at home and batteries will be getting better in the future. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that one, but that's just my opinion on that. Moreover, remember, guys, we talked about profitability. The pumpers only talk about revenue, saying, it's going to bring in revenue, but how much money will these charging station things make? So this is according to Tesla. Ross Gerber, he was asking, because he's one of the Tesla pumpers, and he's like, oh, you're going to make 50% gross margins, right? And Elon Musk as well, maybe 30%, and actual profitability 10%. And so this is where, suddenly that $3 billion in revenue with only 10% profitability starts to get smaller and smaller as you think about it. Moreover, this is actually really important. If you guys can easily find this information. Tesla's revenue annually, right? How much they bring in a year is about $80 billion, in that range. So in 7 years from now, if you're going to be bringing in another $3 billion in revenue, on your $80 billion in revenue, it's not like a game changer. It's not like you're doubling your revenue, right? You guys understand that, right? $3 billion is really quite small compared to $80 billion. I'm not saying that, billions of dollars is not a lot of money, but you have to put this in context of a big company, right? Moreover, what about their profits? Well, Tesla makes roughly 12 to 13 billion a year in profits. So if you make 3 billion in revenue for the charging stations, and let's say you profit 10% of that, you're making 300 million a year. So add a 0.3 to this. So, does 12.6 plus 0.3, is that a game changer? Is that doubling your profits? Is that making, crazy amounts of money for you? No, it's not. And so this is sort of why I'm putting all these, real numbers and real sort of news and just reality for you guys, because sadly, the pumpers, how it works is they only tell you certain information and they leave out the key information, right? They tell you about revenues, but they leave out competition. They tell you about revenues growing, but they leave out actual profits. So these are things that are really important. Moreover, this is actually another big one. So people who, love Tesla, love Elon Musk, they love to say, oh, Elon's all about free speech and Twitter, and those Democrats, they're so dumb. I hate the Democrats because, Tesla's awesome and Elon Musk is awesome. And then the reason why I mentioned that and mentioned the Democrats, because this is key. For much of what's going on with EV sales right now, it's subsidized by the government, right? They put it right on their website, the $7,500 federal tax credit. This is more of a Democrat green energy kind of thing. Full disclosure, I don't like Biden that very much, but I do get this, right? I do get it. I'm realistic. If I'm an EV company and if I'm selling these things, yeah, I want that tax credit. I want to be subsidized by the government. But don't we just be making stuff up that you hate on this kind of thing. But right now the government is helping your company, and this may not last forever. You never know. Change of party, Republicans may come in. They say, you know what? We need to strengthen our oil companies, and we're spending too much money by subsidizing the EV companies. And also, too, this is also my personal opinion as well. I'm not thrilled about the government just giving money to companies like this in this way, essentially giving money to rich people. That's just my opinion on that. But you can disagree. I can totally get an argument against it and say, yes, we need to get rid of oil companies, which I actually agree on. But I don't know. I'm just saying understand that when we do talk about politics, some people get real passionate about this stuff, but I just keep it real. Right now, the government is subsidizing Tesla and other EVs, and this may not last forever. So that may also hurt sales as well, because right now, the value proposition is much better with a tax credit, but without the tax credit, your value proposition goes away. Moreover, this is actually a really interesting thing. If you take a look at this and say, okay, well, what could be a fair price of Tesla? You can ask the robots. Robots will tell you Tesla is 80% overvalued. Fair value is 142, right? Because right now, if you look at Tesla, it's up 14% in the past year, which is great. However, your PE is 75, which is really high. And, what is a fair PE? Maybe 20, 30, maybe 40, maybe only 10, right? But it's 75 is really high. And the basic gist of it, his basic guideline is take a look at the profits of the company. Are they growing? And is your growth in earnings, is that greater than your PE? Right now, at the moment, though, I was looking at their recent earnings report, and a lot of this stuff is down. Total gross profit down 70% year over year. Adjusted EBITDA down 50% year over year. You have the free cash flow down 80% year over year. Income from operations down 26% year over year. These kind of things. So do look at these numbers. It certainly matters when you understand this stuff. And I get it. We're in a market right now where it's basically a game. Everything's Bitcoin and Shiba Inu and stuff like that, and no one cares about actual profitability of a company, because all it cares about is the price go up. and this is also the truth too. And I just show you guys the truth. Kathy Wood and ARK, they've actually been selling Tesla. They've sold it 6 times the last couple of months, but they just did another sale again, I guess. I think it was like $8 million or something in that range. And I also want to tell you guys too about, when we're talking about pumpers and the financial industry, like, just do basic research. Like what I'm showing you guys, I'm not making anything up. I'm showing you this is what, analysts say the charger thing can make. This is what Elon Musk says, how much profit they can be. This is how much money the company makes. I'm showing you guys everything. And I want to give you an example of, like, if you don't do your basic research, you can really get burned. So this was a company, it was an EV company called Mullen. And I remember hearing about it because it was pumped all over YouTube. And it was so easy to go look at the website and find out it was a scam. It was obvious. I mean, this is their website. I'm just not making it up. All you have to do is just do basic research, look at the website, and you can see, like, this looks really amateur. And the CEO and the founder is David Mishrin. You can actually find his personal homepage. It's like, do you believe someone with this kind of homepage? And like the way you present yourself matters. Okay. Do you think this is going to be the next Tesla, the way he presents himself? And moreover, which is actually really interesting. If you read his sort of bio and stuff. So I guess he was like a music person for 27 years. And then he bought Mullet in 2012 from a friend. And then, this is pumping this thing up. And I don't even think they've ever made any cars. And it's been a scam all along. And you can see here, Mullen stock falls towards another record low, record monthly sell-off, and it's basically down 100%. I mean, and it's funny, it says 100% there. But it is still worth 12 cents. So, but I don't know. It's like 100%. You think it would be zero, but I guess if it opens at 12%, 12 cents, and it still is at 12 cents, and that would be the 100. Moreover, talking about corruption in the financial industry, because you're saying, Chris, how does this stuff happen? How do people can go on YouTube? But doesn't the FTC do something, or how people can go, on TV and just basically, it just, as I say, basically lie to your face. But this has been like this for years. Whenever there's money involved, and you can essentially cheat suckers, you'll do it. That's what, I don't mean everyone will do it, but people will do it. Like, here's another simple example. This was the Trump, the DWAC SPAC, you guys remember. 3 people involved with this were just arrested for insider trading. Isn't that crazy? I guess they made like $22 million in this thing, and the DOJ is on them going, yeah, none of that insider trading stuff. And again, when you talk about this much money, people will lie to you because not everyone has your best interest at heart. They have their pocketbooks at heart. And I don't think that's right. And that's why I make these kind of videos for you to guys tell you the truth. Now, the other sort of thing that people also tell you, if you remember, go back to here, is like, they try to pump you that, this is the AWS moment. The superchargers are going to be like, early in the game, making $3 billion, and it just like pump up that number again. But the thing is, a company like a Tesla is not a new company. When everyone on the news is talking about it, and everyone on YouTube is talking about it, and your friends are talking about it, it is not early in the game, right? It is not a new company. And this is sort of what they try to tell you. They try to convince you that, if you made 20% in the past, it's going to do that again. But this is not the beginning anymore, right? This is not the beginning. And it's sad that people keep telling you that. And I'll tell you a company that is the beginning, and I'll ask you this simple question, right? So this is the beginning, Virgin Galactic, right? They just did their first commercial flight. Now, is this a good investment, right? This is the question I'm asking you. And the reason why I pose this to you is because I don't know. I don't know if space tourism is going to be a thing. I don't know if Virgin Galactic is going to dominate space tourism. I have no idea. I can't predict 10 years, 15 years in the future, 20 years even. I don't know what's going to happen 20 years in the future. But the idea, though, is that they try to convince you that Tesla's at early stage. And I'm like, no, it's clearly not at early stage. This is the type of company that would be early stage, right? And it's really, really risky. And that's the whole point of what I'm saying. So when people try to tell you it's early stage, ask yourself the question is, if everyone's talking about, is it truly early stage? I'll give you another example is, if you want to talk about early stage, if you could find a company that's, say, developing, Star Trek transporter technology, and invest in it today, maybe if you're right, you're going to, make 20,000% in 20 years. But do you know? No, you have no idea. You have no idea. And this is sort of, what you have to do as an investor is just protect yourself. It doesn't mean you can't find the teleportation company, or it doesn't mean you can't find the space tourism company, but understand that there are risks, there are scams out there, and that people sadly will lie to your face. And again, I'll repeat, Tesla makes money. They're a profitable company. They're a popular stock. You can make money on it, but don't necessarily have pipe dreams that it's early stage and no one knows what this company is, et cetera. I'm giving examples of early stage, right? And even Virgin Galactic's not even that early because we all know what it is now. Early stage is more like, Star Trek transporter technology. So, which obviously, who knows if it's ever going to work or even is even a thing. Anyway, I hope this is clear and you guys understand what we're talking about. Do pay attention to profits. Don't just focus on revenue, and understand that much of the financial industry is to take advantage of retail investors. So I do appreciate your time, and I'll catch you in the next video.